Hi everybody, welcome back. I hope you're all doing well. Sorry, I have a cold, so yeah, pardon me. However, as the year is almost coming to an end, I'm so glad I stumbled upon this lady's video, which led me to other videos. And it's about women in their 30s, 40s, 50s talking about starting over and embracing changes in their lives. Anyway, let's get in.
No one talks about how once you hit your 30s, you just wake up one day and realize, like, I don't want this friendship, I don't want this relationship, I don't want this job, I don't want this life anymore. And you just change up everything, the grieving that comes with the life you had just to enjoy the life that you want. So this is your sign to know that it's okay. Like, it's okay to let go of what no longer serves you and just to keep pushing. Like, literally this year was a transformation year for me, and like I lost a lot, but I also gained a lot. So really I don't feel like I lost anything but dead weight. But overall, like, I'm just so thankful that I went on this journey.
Yeah, I'm so glad I stumbled upon this video. This is like almost like a motivational video, but then again, I really like it. And I thought to share it because so many women around the age of 30, 40, 50, 60s go through this phase. It could be that you just left a marriage, the children left the house, so the job didn't turn out to be what you wanted it to be, you invested in things, you lost the money, and so on and so forth. And it's not too late to reinvent yourself. It's not too late to start over. It's not too late to do something else. It's not too late to leave that relationship. It's not too late. It's never too late. If it's not serving you, 2025 is coming to an end. This is your sign to leave and choose you. Okay, without wasting your time, let's get into some of the stories, and then I'm going to come back and talk some more. Leave your own thoughts and opinions in the comments.
At 34, I quit my job of 9 years because they didn't want to make me a VP. I broke up with my ex of 4 years because he didn't want to marry me, but he would prefer to have kids with me and buy homes. I then bought a condo in Brooklyn, New York, and became a first-time homeowner. In 6 months, I landed a job as a VP at another firm that was paying me 60% more than what my previous job was paying me. I'm now a VP in a profession that I enjoy. At 38, I spend most of my time decorating my condo. My advice: don't stay in places that you're not valued and have to convince people of what you're worth. If the job's not paying you enough, and if the job's not promoting you, leave and go where you're valued. If the relationship no longer serves you, leave until the right person comes along. You never have to convince people to value you. You never have to convince people that you're worthy. So, until the right people come along and give you exactly what you deserve and what you're worth, my advice: life is too short to be in places where you are unhappy, miserable, trying to convince people that you're worth their kindness, worth their promotion, or worthy of a healthy relationship.
4 years ago today, I got married. And if you had told that version of me where I'd be 4 years later, so I am estranged from my family. My family were at my wedding. My mum walked me down the aisle. I am not married anymore. I'm going through a divorce. I am living on my own. I'm starting completely over at 37. And I think if you'd have told me that 4 years ago, I would have cried. I would have been terrified. And I would have had this idea that I'd failed. But what that old version of me didn't know is that this version of me standing here, right now, I feel more free, I feel more grounded, and I am more excited than she ever was. Because even though I lost so much, I found myself. And I don't share that stuff for sympathy, not at all, right? I only share my truth and my honesty to remind someone that your whole life can fall apart and still become the beginning of something better. You don't have to stay where it's safe. You don't have to settle. You are allowed to begin again, full permission. Even if it's messy, even if it's scary, even if you're 37, 47, 57, 67, we can always start over, because there is always something waiting for you on the other side of letting go.
I'm a 46-year-old single mom of 3, and I've essentially started over in my 40s. And this whole month of November, I've been feeling very introspective. I felt this like natural pull to reflect, and I've had a lot of aha moments. And I wanted to share a couple of them because maybe somebody out there needs to hear this, because I think a lot about time. Because I got divorced 6 years ago when I was 40 years old. I had 3 kids and no career. I was a stay-at-home mom. And you know, here I am. I've never felt or looked better in my entire life. Things are going really good for me. They're not perfect, but like, you know, I'm hustling, I'm working hard, and things are working out. And there's a while there where I was like, nothing's gonna work out, I'm doomed, and I felt hopeless. And now I'm more hopeful than ever. And so I've been thinking a lot about the timing and thinking about my self-worth, because I've had these moments this month. Specifically, I thought about some men that, you know, I wanted so badly in my life. And none of it made sense. Like, it was like they were going to be my savior. They were going to save me from myself. Because growing up, I thought I was just like stupid. I thought I was very stupid. And it's all started when I was younger. I got held back in kindergarten. I had a speech impediment. I sucked my thumb. I didn't grow up in a household that was supportive. Nobody said I love you. Just a lot of neglect, a lot of divorce, a lot of dysfunction. And then I became, you know, I abused substances. I slept around a lot. I had extremely low self-worth. And I always thought I was so dumb. So I never tried anything. I never put myself out there. I was so scared people were gonna laugh at me and think I was just so stupid. I couldn't do math. I had undiagnosed ADD. I just really thought I was a piece of shit. And this is how I lived my whole life. Went through school, worked in childcare all through high school, had a bunch of siblings. And so the first thing I did, the safest thing I could do, was to jump into a marriage where a man could take care of me so I wouldn't have to do anything, and then have babies, another safe route. I could fly under the radar, and that was what I was good at, was taking care of kids, not putting, you know, nothing for myself, everything for everybody else. And I did well at that. You know, I love my babies. Best thing I ever did. But I think a lot about God's timing and how it was like this giant pause, and I gave myself away for years and years and years. I lost myself to more substance abuse. And here I am. You know, I've been divorced now for 6 years. And you know, the level to which I hated myself is shocking. The level to which I thought I deserved, because my sense of self was so low, my self-worth was so low, like, it's appalling. It's appalling. And the thing that I think about too is I can remember feeling how stupid I felt. I can remember just feeling like I would watch people and they were doing the things that I wanted to do, and I was just bitter and angry, and you know, and I just would like numb myself with substances, because I was like, I knew I wanted to do all of it. I wanted everything, and I felt like I could do it, but it was like this you know, my upbringing just told me I was a loser and I couldn't do it, and so I didn't, and it ate at me and ate at me and ate at me, and I became ugly and wretched, literally. And it wasn't until my divorce, when like my whole world shattered and everything fell on its head, that I had to start fresh. And, you know, I sat in that muck for 3 years. I sat in my rock bottom for 3 years, just dwelling in the past, not knowing how to move forward. But eventually, 2 years ago, you know, it was like a clearing. It was like a clearing came, and, you know, I got down on my hands and knees. I begged God for mercy, and here I am. It's been the best 2 years of my life. And it didn't happen for me until I was 46 years old. And, you know, that's why I tell my story, because I think a lot about God's timing, and I think about those losers that I thought I couldn't live without, and how God saved me. If I would have ended up there, I never would have gotten here. And so it's like, you know, don't cry for that loser. Just know God has a plan greater than you could ever imagine, and none of it has to make sense right now. One of the prayers I always repeat over and over is Proverbs 3:5. Lean not on your own understanding, and put all of your faith in God, because God knows. God's got you. God's got you. Just have faith. Let go of the past. Move forward with faith. You've got this. I love you. Bye.
I've been separated from my husband now for nearly 30 days, which is unreal. It flies by. And of course, I'm living by myself now, and I have lots of times to reflect. And one of the things that I was thinking is, I remember the fear that I had about being alone. I am a Brazilian living in the UK, so my whole family lives back in Brazil. And I am so surprised with the way I'm feeling. I'm so surprised how I'm enjoying actually to be alone. I do have an amazing group of friends, and they are very supportive, but I literally enjoy so much. I'm enjoying so much this solitude. So I wanted to share that, because I know a lot of women and a lot of men as well that are in a relationship and are planning to get separated could be going through this terrifying fear of just being alone. What is going to happen? I know everybody, like each of us have a different experience and a different story. But for me, I feel that what happened was being together wasn't good for both of us. And now that we are apart, life just feels better. Everything just feels more positive. So being alone and being in my own space and have time to think and have time to digest everything feels good, feels better. So I just wanted to say that not everything that we think, not everything that we think is going to happen actually happens. Not every feeling that we think we are going to feel, we are actually going to feel when we get separated. That is my experience. That is my story. And I feel like I had to share because I've never seen someone talk about separation, and I had consumed a lot of it online, of someone that actually felt that the separation at the beginning was positive. And right now, I think it is being positive for both sides. Do you agree?
I'm not trying to tell you to do something stupid, right? But when you're like 30 to 40, it's so hard to understand how much time you actually have to start over and completely rebuild, even though it feels like an impossible task. I pivoted my career at 33, and on paper, I had everything. I was working with household names, traveling the world, earning good money. But deep down, I felt drained, boxed in, and felt like my life wasn't my own. So I did the thing most people are terrified of doing, and I walked away. I didn't have a neat backup plan, but what I did have was a strong gut feeling that if I didn't pause now, I'd lose myself completely. And taking that year career break wasn't me being reckless, it was me reclaiming clarity. Space gave me perspective on what I was actually good at, what I enjoyed, what I didn't enjoy, and the time to build a career that worked for me on my terms and not something I was doing because it's something I've always done. Let me tell you, I was so scared I would never figure it out because at the time it seemed like something so out of reach. But I guess fear is always 10,000 miles wide, but only 1 inch deep. And once I dipped my toe to try something different, it actually wasn't that bad. And then fast forward to today, I've repositioned my skills, designed work around my lifestyle, and now earn more than I did in corporate, but with autonomy, integrity, and freedom. And look, I'm not saying go quit your job tomorrow with no plan, but if you're sitting in a career you secretly hate and you're telling yourself, I'll figure it out later, understand this, okay? Later comes fast. 5 years fly by when you're tolerating misery. And if you're between 30 and 40, you still have so much time to pivot and rebuild. You'd be shocked at how much life you still have left to design differently. I know starting over feels scary, but the longer you wait, the harder it gets. The risk isn't leaving, the risk is staying stuck until the window closes.
I'm 64, but I want to thank 54-year-old me for finally putting me first. It was 10 years ago this month. I walked out of divorce court, and within 7 days, the job I had worked so hard for was eliminated, just like that. No longer a wife, no fancy job to define my success. And in that moment, I had to ask myself, why was this happening? I had asked God to free me from the life that no longer served me, but I never thought that would leave me without the 2 things that had defined me for over 30 years. But I thank God it did. Without that loss, I never would have gained so much in return. Like the courage to write a book, to start multiple businesses. I wouldn't have gained the courage to travel to over 14 countries alone. Wouldn't have discovered parts of me that I thought no longer existed. So my point is, don't be afraid to leap. Because when you leap, the net will appear to catch you and bring you to a life you didn't even know could exist for you.
In your 40s and you ain't reached nowhere, nah man, what this? This is what some of your friends and family are saying behind your back. And even if they're not saying it, some of them think like this about you, I swear. But just remember, they haven't been through what you've been through. They haven't faced the adversities that you faced. Could never walk a day in your shoes. I see you saying it's my time. Yes, and you're doing everything in your power to make it happen, even at your big age of 40. Today for them, tomorrow for you, honey. It's your time. I feel it. So ladies, if you're in your 40s and you're feeling like, oh my gosh, this is taking too long, or I feel like I'm too old to start over, you ain't. Let's go. I got you. We got this. Let's go. I hear time. I feel it.
Here are the 5 steps I took to start over in my 40s. The first thing is that I stopped telling myself things like, you're too old, it's too late, that'll never happen for you, that's too hard, it's going to take too much money, why bother? Those are just stories, and they're not true. The second thing I did is that I stopped letting fear make my decisions for me. It feels scary starting over just because it's unfamiliar. That's it. Yes, it's new. You probably don't know what you're doing. Who cares? You'll figure it out as you go along. But stop telling yourself, I'm so scared. I wish I could do XYZ, but I'm too scared to do it. You telling yourself constantly that you're scared is what's making you scared. Doing the thing isn't actually all that scary. The third thing I did is that I asked myself what I truly want for my life in this season. A lot of us carry around dreams that we've had for 10, 20, 30 years without ever checking in to see if those dreams are still a dream. So don't be afraid to ask yourself, what do I really want? If I knew that it was possible and that I was going to have it 100%, what would I want for my life? And be honest. You don't have to say it out loud. You don't have to tell anyone. You don't even have to write it down. Just be honest with yourself. The fourth thing I did was that I found women that were doing the thing that I wanted to do, and I watched them and I got inspired by them. There are so many incredible creators on this app. If you just search for them, you will find someone doing what you want to do. Watch them. It's going to show you that it's possible. The fifth thing I did, and this one's important, I actually took action. Nothing happens if nothing happens. You have to go for the thing. Take a tiny step forward. Even if it's messy, even if you don't know what you're doing, you gotta take action. Action brings clarity. I promise you.
Yeah, I'm so grateful having come across all these women talking about their experiences in life and how they were able to start over and still make it and still be successful. Most of the times, most women, especially when it comes to relationships, marriages, children, and our careers and businesses, most of us will be like, oh, I've worked so hard for this. I'm going to fight for it some more. I'm going to fight for this. I'm going to try my best. I'm going to do this. What's the point of leaving this toxic, narcissistic man? We have kids together. We've built something together. I'm going to fight for it. But then you're not happy. You're just existing. You're surviving. You're always in survival mode. Okay, you're always trying. You're always doing more than you're supposed to do. And I'm not saying pack up and leave, because a couple of days ago I saw this lady saying all the ladies who keep telling women to leave, like where do we go to? What do we do? Sometimes you need a little bit of a plan, and sometimes you need a leap of faith. You know, sometimes you just have to jump, and at other times you need to plan. So depending on the situation that you're in, if it has to do with the toxic relationship that you need to leave, save up as much as you can and leave, okay? But if it has to do with a job, more jobs will come, more money will come, more opportunities will come. Don't be afraid to, leave that situation. It doesn't matter if you've been there for so long, you've put in all your all into it. The place is becoming toxic, madam. Leave, shift. Okay, maybe that is your sign. Maybe there's something else on the other side. Maybe you sitting there, you're just wasting your time. Okay, maybe what is actually for you is on the other side of you gathering the courage to leave. You staying there and insisting that because you've put in so much work and you've done this and that and the third, you're going to see it through. You're going to do whatever it takes. You're going to work your hardest. Most of the times, it doesn't amount to change. Okay, you're just wasting years and wasting time when you can move to the other side, the other business, the other job, another side of the country and start over. Okay, and start over, because it's never too late. It's not too late. It's only late when you stay where you are, because you can see your potential and you're like, do you know what? You let me stay here. It's okay. It's fine. I mean, I'm struggling, but everybody's struggling everywhere and so on and so forth. Yeah, it could be the case, but it could also be that you leaving might be what you actually need and not you staying. Okay, so I'm proud of them and I'm so happy that they shared their stories, and I just wanted to share with you that I don't know what you're going through, what is going on in your life right now. It could be anything. It could be like them. It could be different from them. It could be anything. But I want you to reassure you that it's never too late. You can always start over. No matter where you find yourself in life, you can lose it all and start afresh. You can jump or you can take your time. But as long as you are striving for you, Not for anybody else. You. Prioritizing you, your wants, your likes, your needs, what makes you happy, then we are okay. Anyway, I'm so happy. You can share your own stories in the comment, and I'll see you again in another one. Take care of yourselves and one another. Bye.